will anybody pine for this year, looking back? Will you say, I can think of some good things that happened this year? I mean, one thing is, look how people came together to help produce, even in small factories and small businesses, personal protective gear for the virus. Well, that's another virus story, and that was bad. I know. But how people react to bad things, that can be very good. I think there were some positive things that happened in 2020. But I also realize, hey, there are a lot of people, including me, who can't wait to go headlong into that new year. Let's talk to the good doc about that today. Dr. John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services in East Lansing, drjohnb.com. That's where all the podcasts are. We are doing our final segment here of 2020. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Well, good morning to you, Dave, and I think you kind of said it. Regardless of good things, and there's certainly been a lot of them among people really working hard, trying to get things done, people really dedicating themselves to helping others. With that said, I doubt there's going to be very many people that are not going to be incredibly happy to kick out 2020 and begin 2021, because it has been a very, very difficult year as we have had to show a lot of endurance as human beings with the pandemic terror that grips the U.S. and the rest of the world. So there's been a lot of increase in anxiety, depression, substance abuse, exhaustion, disillusionment. Feelings of isolation have grown, so it has been difficult. Now, with that, there's been growth in spirituality in some people. There's been also people finding more purpose for themselves in life. There have been people, by helping others, that are increasing themselves as human beings, making themselves feel better. So there is good, but overall, it has been a very difficult year. And again, I think we're ready to move on, and we're ready to just, we have the vaccination. I think we have the beginning of the beginning. But as you know, you can't have an end until you have the beginning of the beginning. So I think we can start looking down the way to some herd immunity. We can start seeing some positive things. Not yet, but they're in the process of occurring.
Do you, in your set of fellow wizards, the people who handle the human psychology, do you look at years as being something that are important to divvy up, or is it more, these are just dividing lines here, but they're not arbitrary, but you look at the carryover from one year to the other. Is it more important to get people grounded in their whole life and not say, okay, take it and the new year is a new thing? How do you divvy that up so that people can keep proper perspective and really do better with their overall good mental health?
Well, I think overall, it's like being a good gardener. You have to work on your mental health and your effectiveness and your growth as a human being every day. It isn't just one particular day or one particular year. In the case of years, the thing I like about the breakup by the year, it's a time for a new beginning. And over the years, we've done it in terms of, it could be educational endeavors, it could be weight loss, it could be exercise, it could be whatever it will. This year, we have a whole different kind of a situation. We have people that have been isolated, people that have been working out of their homes, people that have not been able to work. So this has been a whole different kind of a year. So I think when people see the ending, and I think the way the vaccines happen to coincide with the end of the year, it seemed to give breath and seemed to give some feelings of positivity, if you will, for the coming year. So I think this is just a very, very unique situation, Dave, that we have a kind of an ending of a year. Maybe it was the same in 1945 or 1918, respectively, World War I ending, World War II ending,
right.
65, the Civil War. I'm sure they're pivotal years that people are glad to move on from. And I'm not trying to compare this necessarily to all the, what happened in those horrible wars. However, it has been a type of a war, an invisible war with this pandemic, and there's been a lot of terror, a lot of fear, and it continues. There are a number of people that I work with that won't go anywhere, very limited going anywhere, even with a lot of security. They're just very obsessed, a lot of OCD, very concerned about anything and everything. So,
you bring up a great thing there when you mention those terrible conflicts coming to an end. I just saw a video here recently, and on the end of World War II in Bridge City, where one of the major issues they had was everybody being on a war footing 24/7 for 6 years, or almost 6 years, is that they had a hard time decompressing from that and getting over to what would be normal life. Again, it was a difficult transition rather than there was the big party, of course. But then what? And people ask that. Well, now what do we do? It's been so ingrained. Is there some danger of that in the carryover from 2020? As things start to get better, will people have a hard time breaking away from what's been kind of a siege mentality?
Absolutely, Dave. I don't think there's any doubt. I see that already. Remember, OCD, obsessive compulsive, there are a lot of people that have obsessive compulsive disorder, call it what you will, over things. You get something like this, a very legitimate concern, and people can carry it on and on and on. I think masks is something, which this is not really a negative. People may, during the winter season, during flu seasons, people may use masks, which could be seen as a positive. But I think as a whole, psychologically, there's going to be damage going on for years from this situation. There'll be some people that can never fully get away from it. Now, fortunately, the vast majority of people that won't be the case. But remember, even if you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4% of the population, we're talking about millions of people that will have that. So I think it will be a difficult transition for a lot of people, particularly people that had tendencies to worry and were food phobics, we could say, were people that were very concerned with viruses, colds, contamination. Those people are in overdrive, and I think that unfortunately will grow rather than recede in the coming years for many persons.
So some unreasonable phobias that were exacerbated by this particular pandemic will be hard to set aside. Yeah.
Be very, very hard. Again, I've talked to people that have developed spiritual awareness, people that had grown up in strong spiritual homes, religious, and they all of a sudden began looking in themselves, looking for purpose. So there's been growth with people too. So it's not been all negative. I don't want it to be all negative. I think overwhelmingly it's been negative, but there has been a lot of positives. It's like you're saying too, you couldn't have a regular family reunion, if you will, but the fact that you could see family members more one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-two, call it what you will, made you just appreciate the fact that you still had your loving children and family. But it also gives you, makes you really think about, won't it be nice? We feel the same way. Won't it be nice when everybody can just get together and celebrate? Because we will be talking about this in our children, grandchildren. This will be a lifelong kind of a remembered year. 2020 will not be forgotten.
And I totally get it. I remember a year ago at this time being out and helping my mom decorate a room. She had a new tree. She wanted things just a certain way. And this year I'm looking at that same tree that we put together for her a year ago, but now I'm doing it with my sister holding up a iPad through her window and with her hand up on the window. And I looked at that, and it's just I hate to say the trite, it is what it is. And I don't want to be ungrateful for at least having my mom still around, but it just is not the ideal. And the ideal was not available. Let's just put it that way. The ideal was not available in 2020, so you did the best that you could. I think most people did the best that they could. And I saw some wonderful photographs online here over the Christmas time. I know you did too, with people doing the best and making the best out of a not great situation. I think that's okay. I mean, that actually makes me feel pretty good. But yeah, I'm not going to pine for 2020 either. I'm looking forward to flipping that calendar in a socially responsible way on Thursday night into Friday morning for the New Year's, and I know you are as well. Will you be flipping the calendar here, or will you be down in sunny South Florida, where I think the temperature today is probably going to be about 80 degrees, be typical this time.
We're actually going to be here. We'll be going about 3 weeks. We'll be staying around for the first, so we'll be around for a few weeks until we go down to that 80-degree weather, which it is actually these days. That's what you get in Miami this time of year. On the other hand, there's nothing like Michigan, I believe, in terms of during Christmas, during New Year. There's just something about the winter wonderland, because we did get some snow. It's kind of gone, but no, this is a great place to be during this time of year.
And it will be back here. It will be back. And between now and the next, we aren't going to meet again. I'm not going to talk to the doc till next year. Anyway, when we do talk again, you've got time to sort out the Spartans. Okay, they can leave behind a few things here in 2020 as well, and hit the reset button, because they're going to need to do it. Dr. John Braccio, talking about the final closure, put the punctuation on the year 2020, the pandemic year, and hoping for a major rebound for all of us. That's a good thought for 2021.
That is true, David. It's been a pleasure working with you this year. And adelante, the good Spanish word. We're all going to move forward, and 2021 is going to be a much better year.
Outstanding. We'll talk to you then. Stay safe until 2021.
Bye-bye. Dr.
John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services, East Lansing, at drjohnb.com. That's the podcast. Hey, we're back. 1320. WILS.